Hello, and welcome to Industry Reactions. Industry Reactions is a weekly briefing on industry events, changes, and future trends that impact your business. We're your hosts, Rick Honer and Mark Friedel from ChemPoint. You can find Industry Reactions on YouTube, LinkedIn, and as a podcast. For those watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, and smash that like button. We plan on discussing issues that impact the global industry and help you uncover new opportunities. We hope this will provide market intelligence that will keep you ahead of changing conditions.
All right, and our first story this week is regarding the PMI data that was recently released, or the Purchasing Managers Index. No surprise that May continued to climb. It went above 62, and April it was hovering around 60, 60.5. So we're continuing to see expansion in the economy and in the markets. One of the things that's being cautioned and warned, which we've all seen, is capacity constraints and some of the supply chain disruptions. But the economy continues to grow and expand at a very fast pace.
All right, so on to our next story as we start talking about oil. So really, the oil industry could face a quote unquote golden sunset, especially for companies still developing new reserves. How long that sunset lasts depends on the speed at which the economy shifts to cleaner energy resources. So clearly, you've got this change going on in the marketplace. You've got some OPEC working together to really tighten up supply, which has worked well, and price has come up, and now oil is at new highs. And so long story short, they're going down swinging. They're going to keep the prices high. It seems like writing's on the wall around activist investors trying to drive towards green chemistries. We saw that happen with Exxon. However, at the same time, there's still some pricing and supply issues to help make as much money as possible as this transition occurs.
Which I think kind of dovetails into our next story. Oil prices continue to climb, and as we recall, last year, oil prices were as low as they've ever been in history, even going negative for a period there. So it's good to see that OPEC is going to open up a bit more capacity to maybe give a little bit of relief to some of the pricing. But yeah, it's sitting around $70 a barrel. And we did see, to this story specifically around rig count, we did see rig count technically decline. I think it went down one. There was one offshore rig in the U.S. that was idled last week. So if anything, it stabilized. I think the official number is 456 rigs, still significantly more than what we saw last year at this time, which was right around 280, 285.
All right, and into the next story, we'll talk about railcar volumes. So last week, railcar volumes in North America was up about 3.5% from 2020, and actually down from 2019. Volume in total was up about 2% from the previous week and up 20% year over year. So similar to what we talked about last time, on a year over year basis, some significant recovery in the 20+% zone. But what's still surprising to me is we're still below 2019 levels. So we've seen incredible return, but we're still not above where we were 2 years ago.
Rick, this next story I thought was pretty interesting. It caught my attention. Cargill, obviously one of the largest and major food companies, is building a palm oil refinery in Indonesia. I think they're going to invest up to $200 million on this, especially given some of the events that we saw earlier this year, late last year, when some of these plantations in Southeast Asia, I believe they were more specific to Malaysia, were accused of child labor, and a lot of sustainability issues came up. So it's pretty cool to see that a quote unquote Western company is investing in that region and hopefully doing it in a way that's more sustainable.
All right, so the next story we'll talk about Kerry, who's been in the news for us quite a bit. So Kerry's invested and bolstered their Latin America position by building a new quote unquote world-class taste facility in Mexico that'll be located in Irapuato, Mexico. The new facility will significantly increase Kerry's capacity in the area and further support customers delivering local, sustainable taste solutions. So good to see them actually expanding and driving more into the Latin American market.
Yeah, they truly are a global company. I believe they're headquartered out of Ireland, but man, they have a big presence globally for sure, and they continue to expand on that. All right, next up is Vertelis. They're acquiring a company that I'm not familiar with, IM Chemicals. They're acquiring their intermediates and specialties division. I believe they're a company out of Austria, if I read correctly. And their products really serve the pharma markets, coatings, and fuel and lubricants. So I think this will help bolster Vertelis's presence in those markets. And I'd have to assume that IM Chemicals also has a strong presence in Europe, being that they're a European company. And I don't think Vertelis is super strong in that region. I know they have facilities in the UK, but this should help, grow their footprint in these markets and this geographic region as well. So the company, fairly small company, 150 employees. And I think this is the first acquisition that Vertelis has done since it was acquired by Pritzker Private Capital, which we reported upon. I think this was back around January or towards the end of last year.
All right. We're actually talking about, or actually closing the loop on a story that we talked about last week, is around Albemarle and Grace. So Grace has actually completed the acquisition of the fine chemistry services business of Albemarle. So that deal has finally gone through.
All right, another story regarding acquisitions. Aceto has acquired a company out of Eugene, Oregon, Cascade Chemistry. Again, another company I'm not too familiar with. Apparently, they're a contract manufacturer, and they also do, they're a contract manufacturer for APIs for the pharmaceutical industry.
All right, and our last story is around Linksys. So Linksys completed its sale of its organic leather chemicals business to TFL Leader Technic. TFL, if you don't know, is a global supplier of leather chemicals and a portfolio company of the investment firm Black Diamond Capital Management. So Linksys looks like they've completed that and offloaded that business.
Yeah, for sure. And Rick, maybe another story off script, which I was reading just earlier today, kind of going back to oil and gas. The Colonial Pipeline that got hacked and shut down. Sounds like they recovered some of those funds. So it was kind of cool to see that. I don't know if you read that story.
Yeah, absolutely did. And the thing that was surprising to me was the reaction that the price of Bitcoin actually went down on that news, which I would have thought the opposite would have happened. So kind of curious to see that. I think maybe the ability to go secure those funds, maybe thought, lost trust in Bitcoin's anonymity in that space. On the other side, it also should allow a little trust that, because that's the number one thing you hear is that, all of that crypto is used for illicit type activities, which isn't absolutely the truth. And so to see actually some actions that can be taken around it, I think is actually a good sign.
All right, well, that's it for this week's editions of Industry Reactions. We will return next week with a fresh batch of Industry Reactions. Until then, stay safe.
Take care.